Okay, you guys ready? This is a very big topic. I hope it all comes out right, just because it's so vast, but it's really interesting. So I'm talking about channeled information, because it's been life-changing for me, but it's also interesting to talk about because I know there's a lot of skeptical people, and I don't even really mean like you guys necessarily, just out in the world. I mean, and not even just the general populace, which is a given. I mean, even I think within what I would call the spiritual type of community, or people that are like new to this, because I do remember discovering this kind of thing. And, I'm so blessed that I was at an age where I could appreciate the internet, like it was just becoming available to everybody when I was really starting to spread my wings. And I have such a thirst for knowledge. Before the internet, I had to plow through books, right? And now that's funny because I hesitate, and even if I do pick up a book, like something that's in my library, I kind of hammer through it. Like, I just want information and I want it yesterday. And I've been so accustomed to getting what I want because of the internet. So this is kind of where I'll go for information. When I first discovered it, I was put off by a couple things I was seeing because I was not in touch with myself enough to understand my world. Don't you find the more that you know yourself, the more that you understand other people? Well, that goes for information too. So I would listen to this stuff, and didn't have a lot of experience with that kind of thing. So the package it came in was what my fears were getting triggered, like maybe probably still had some of the religious dogma in me, from growing up and being told, see, some religions didn't want you to find your answers elsewhere because that would affect their bottom line, you can imagine. So now, being the type of personality I am, that's not going to fly for me. I don't care what other people are telling me. I need what I need, and I will do what I have to go get it. So I found that the highest knowledge I could find was this channeled stuff. And then I also found the regular people, like the Wayne Dyers of the world, they were getting their stuff from the same places. So what does that kind of tell you, right? So I began to feel like the things that regular people were saying, the people that charge you and they'll get on stage and they'll walk back and forth and they'll talk like on a TED Talk before we had TED Talks, those people got their stuff from the same places I go now, and I didn't want it to be regurgitated. Really, really, really don't want things to be run through another person before they get to me, because to me that just dilutes it, or it'll give it another flavor. And that's where I'm going with this. When you happen upon a channeled piece of work or body of work, you're going to either resonate with the person or not. So as the years went on, I found that the less I would judge what I was seeing, the more I would seem to be corralled into exactly what I needed. And so, let's start out with a few questions. People might say, where does this stuff come from? Where does it come from? So let me let me start with, try to use myself as a loose example. I'm really digging Jesus lately. Although I have in the past too, like I'll find something and I'll just devour it. But now this is going to bring up something interesting to people that may not have thought of this. I'm listening to 2 different channels. 2 different, and by channel, the channel is just like a dial, like a TV channel or a radio channel, except it's a person. The person is the channel. The person is the instrument. The person is the microphone. So if I'm listening to 2 different people and they're both channeling Jesus, how the hell is that happening? And which one do I believe? Right? Great questions. So here's how it is from my experience. My experience, and I'm a metaphysician, okay, so this is like my area. It's like a plumber talking about plumbing. This isn't off the cuff. It's all in the ethers, if you can kind of think of it that way. Since everything is truly now, that's the ultimate reality. Everything else is an illusion. The ultimate reality is everything is right now. The information is all there. Like Jesus, let's say he has a message. It's all being broadcast. And it's there. It's there to be received. The people that are receiving it can be many. And they can receive it different ways. You know, when you look at people that channel, some of them will step aside their consciousness and allow another consciousness to come in and you utilize them as if they're a microphone. Other people will be alert during it, and they may or may not remember what happened, you know, maybe in real time or maybe as like a memory or something, but they're more of a conscious channel. And then there's, you know, different degrees. Like someone can be so alert that it's just like the information is coming in one ear and then out their mouth. And they'll think questions, like engaging, like a medium. But that's still information coming in. So what it boils down to is, are you resonating with the channel? Because the broadcast is the broadcast. But how each person will pick it up and then, you know, their interpretation of it is going to color it. It's going to change the flavor of the broadcast. But even that's okay. I hope I remember to get to that point. Why it's okay. So the broadcast comes, the person interprets it, interprets the block of energy, because this is all like a feeling block. And the best channelers are the ones that kind of have their ego worked out, like they're really coming from a pure, high vibrational place of love and non-judgment, and they can just empty themselves, and they don't have preconceived ideas or beliefs. They just allow. They are in a perfect state of allowing. Then that will yield the most clear message as it was intended. in the broadcast. So it has to resonate with me. So I don't have to worry about the source being trustworthy or not, because when I look at something and decide if it's for me, it's no different. Just because we're talking about these multidimensional things, it's not any different than who I decide I like out in the real world and who I decide I'm going to take in and who I decide I'm going to focus on or listen to or spend time with. It's no different. So you don't have to be afraid of channeled information if you have a good sense about yourself and who you are, and you got your own stuff together. Just like I'm not afraid of the world that I'm going to be led around or taken advantage of, or I don't have that. I'm not at that place in my life. I'm in a peaceable place in my life when I understand the law of attraction. I understand that what I put out, I get back. And this has been real for me for a long time. So it's not any different when I look at channeled stuff. I'm not worried that they're bad forces or whatever. So if you know how to reject things out here in the real world that don't match you, then you can also do that with channeled information. And the reason why I personally like it, now it may not be for you, you may not need it, but I like it because it's a very quick way for me to get higher knowledge. Because I can sit here, YouTube video after YouTube video, or before that I would read books of channeled information. And you can listen to it too in your car or whatever. It's just an easy, convenient way for me to get taught. I don't think it's any different than when I would have dreams and I would feel that I get downloads. I just would wake up knowing stuff and having like a vague memory of almost as if I was attending a class. Because you have a very active dreams during your dream time. You're very active. Your soul is very active. Your soul doesn't need to sleep. Your body needs to sleep. Your soul needs to connect in a way without your ego mind in the way. So when your ego goes to sleep, your soul goes and does the same kinds of things it does, after you transition to the next phase, like the next dimension, the next place you'll be at when you're done with this one. So channeled stuff, it's just one other avenue your higher self will use to get you information. I cannot tell you how many times, and I've come to expect this, how many times I have been served a video. And before YouTube, it would have been like a song on the radio. Your higher self knows how to get your attention. And it will also speak through other people. And the more I get kind of refined in my, I don't want to say psychic because it makes it sound like like something you can't obtain. Just more aware of my own world and how my multidimensional aspects are interacting with me. I can feel people that have passed on come through people that are here with me. And I'll know like they were influenced. Or you might have had that happen with like somebody passes away and some weird bird's looking at you and you're like, why am I thinking about my deceased father or something? But anyway, so this is how quote unquote spirit will interact with you. And for me, it'll come through the channel stuff. And I find that I resonate and I end up hanging out with the same people will be watching the same videos I'm watching, and we'll talk about it later. Because I'll go ahead and I'll try to make friends with YouTube people. I'm glad that we have Facebook and we have these tools, because I'll go chase them. I'll go chase them and I'll try to befriend them. And then I like to compare stories, and And I'll see even their comments on videos I'm watching, and the channel only has like 7,000 subscribers. Well, that's weird. It doesn't seem weird while it's happening, but if you take an objective view to that, that should be weird. That I find people that are doing what I'm doing. But the reason is, the real hard fact reason is because we're all resonating at around the same state. Like we're all kind of in the same feeling place in our life, kind of beating the same drum. And we gravitate towards each other. So the channeled information is going to take on a different flavor based on who's bringing the information in, their past, their beliefs, all that. The highest, most refined information you can get is going to be from somebody that lacks a lot of personality, ego, and they just let it come in. They don't try to change the message, just like any good medium, any good psychic. That's what they're taught. They're literally taught that. You want to take the information in and don't question it. Just let it come right out you. Take it in and let it come out. And that's, as I understand, how energy comes in. Like it comes in your left hand, it comes out your right hand. See those pictures of Jesus like that? That's more, now we're talking of physical healing rather than a mental healing, but energy's the same either way. It's coming in, you're the instrument, you don't want to filter it, and then it comes out. So I have found, this is the stage 2 I wanted to tell you about. So you've got Jesus here coming in 2 different channels. Both channels, and this is my real world examples, both channels have been kind of cleared. And that means maybe they did a Course in Miracles where if you haven't had, if you haven't looked into that, it's kind of a discourse on the nature of reality. And as you go through it, you can feel yourself kind of change, and you become more of your world than in it. Like you're more of a viewer of the world. So that's one method that one of the channels was cleared. The other method from this other person that was bringing in Jesus as well with a different flavor, she was actually a nun. And this is Jesus's story. This is how he's claiming it happened. He worked with her for 40 years. The other one was like 20 years. And then they used the Course in Miracles. So that her guides and he would be bringing her to that material, encouraging her to go through it, and so forth. All in an effort to clear her as a vessel without ego so the information would come through. Then this other person, he claims to have worked with her to clear out her mind, no dogma or anything, for 40 years. Now, why do both women, they happen to be women, why do both women have to be available? Now, this is the fun part. It's because there are different people asking. This is like one of the highest truths that I have found in my studies. I almost can't even explain it, but it's very profound, and I believe this. And it was told to me, and then everything started clicking and matching up. Everything you see is because of an asking. That's also why it's important not to judge things, because they may be there for others. Even if they're displeasing to you, someone has asked for it. It's on like their path of growth. And if it doesn't appeal to you, that means it's not for you, and you need to not look at that. But that's a whole other lesson, whole other tangent I can go on. But why, the question I posed was, why do we need 2 people channeling the same person? Because they have different audiences. That's why. Now me, it's my personal agenda to listen to everyone. But that's because I have the higher knowledge of understanding. So I'm not caught up in, hey, my Jesus said this. Which I see. Like, I see these posts. I see people out there in Facebook groups arguing and stuff. I'm like on the top of all of that. Just like I feel like I'm on the top of politics, I can look down and I can see the left wing and the right wing in our country. I can see the Republicans and the Democrats. I'm on top looking at both of you guys, and neither being affected by either, really. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm a diplomat like that. But this is why I allow myself to take in all these studies, because I can handle it. I can see here we go, big time right here. All truths are true. That's like giant, okay? This is huge. All truths are true. That's why we can have the two Jesus people come through. They're both Jesus, but they needed to be answered. So it needed to be answered in those two different ways because there was two giant groups asking. And now we can times that by however many Jesuses are coming through. The information is there. Whoever is picking up on it is picking up on it. The only question is, are you a match? That's it. That's the only question that matters is, are you a match? So, here's the only answer that you need. Does it feel good? Does it feel good to you? Okay? All you need to know. You don't even need to call me for an appointment for anything. This is always going to be my answer. Does it feel good to you? Again, I'm kind of overseeing all of this, so I like to hear all the Jesuses because I'm learning my own thing in my own way. But if you find a source of information, trust yourself that you can see if it fits, just like you see if real live humans that are incarnate, if you cut them, they'll bleed. Actual humans, you can decide if you're going to listen to them out here, if you're going to like them, if they resonate. You can do that with channeled people as well. And if it doesn't resonate with you, that means it's not for you. That is profound. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but a lot of people don't know that. And if you are one that does know it, then hear me say this. That's why you look out in the world and you see everyone arguing. It's because they don't understand that you're only supposed to align with what feels good for you. That means it's for you. So if you hear channeled work and it's not for you, put it aside. Because sometimes I've had this when I first started out. Some channeled work, it was vibrating so fast. Like the speech, the thoughts, everything was going so fast, I had to keep pausing it. Now it's perfect. We're exactly in sync and in speed, and it's the same material. Because I'm faster. My frequency is faster. And I see this all over my life. I talk fast, I move fast, I think fast. It's like the way things are going, I think this is part of our evolvement and part of why we'll have telepathy in the future. It's all becoming more efficient. It's just how things progress, I think. Like picture us as cavemen, how stupid we must have been. So, but anyway, if it doesn't match you, it means it's not for you. Doesn't mean it won't be forever, but you don't have to judge like channeled information on its own. You can see what feels right to you. And it is a way that my guides will communicate with me, because it's a very easy way for them to just put stuff in front of me that I need to learn. And it is higher knowledge. It's not regurgitated. It's a little more closer to source than being funneled through the people that will charge you $200 an hour to sit at their media shows. So that's my pitch for channeled work. It's all available, and however it's showing up for you is where you need to be. If it feels good, it's for you. If not, just let it be for others. You don't have to criticize it or anything. Just, there's a lot of great stuff out there. You can be taught so much so fast. So, some people have a direct connection with themselves. They'll meditate and all that. This is kind of how I wind up having information. It's fed to me, and I trust it. So it just keeps happening more and more efficiently all the time. Okay? So that's my little thing. I always want to talk about that. Some people don't understand what it is. It's fascinating. If you have any questions, please put them underneath. It gives me like a reason to get up in the morning, have my coffee and think. Okay? All right. I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.